if you want to see something like unambiguously evil from the anti-trans movement, this is so trivially wrong. So the Department of Justice ordered a review of gender ideology compliance at the Child Safety Authority. The National Center for Missing and Exploited Children said it would be removing all references to trans people from its public materials. So if you've got an organization, the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, it's a US non-profit, and it's fighting against child exploitation and trying to find missing children. Regardless of what you think about trans people think that trans people are a thing, right? Most trans people believe that they are someone, and you might disagree. You might be the kind of person who hates trans people, but even if you think that trans people are all wrong, if you're trying to find a missing child, which way do you think you're going to do it? By acting in a way that they perceive as harassment, by like misgendering them, calling them the wrong thing, telling them that they're mentally ill or something, and misgendering them, or talking to them like a human and trying to reach out to them and tell them that they have love and support. Like, why do you think most kids who are homeless or go missing do so? Well, LGBT people, like gay and trans people, are significantly more likely to be homeless when they're younger or at any point of in their life than straight cis people, and often because of abuse from family members and harassment and not being respected. And like, if you're a 16-year-old who's just come out as trans and your family has no respect for you, they're constantly bullying you about it, they're harassing you, they're, treating you horribly, that might make you want to move out. Like, teenagers get, struggle sometimes with family relationships anyway, even when they have loving families. So when you've got a horrific, abusive, gender-critical family, then, no wonder LGBT people end up more likely to be homeless. But then if you've got this organization which like solely exists to try and resolve these things and find children and end the exploitation of them, if you're not even going to like refer to who they are, not even acknowledge that they exist, then are you going to be able to do that? No, absolutely not. And like removing all references, it's just a fact that trans people are more likely to experience homelessness in the UK. Is like, the numbers are absolutely crazy. It's something like 1 in 3 or 1 in 4 trans people in the UK experience homelessness at one point in their lives, compared to less than 1% of cis people. The difference is massive, and it is because lots of people don't have supportive families. Or even some people are renting, and when they come out, they get kicked out to the streets. The Trump government is currently trying to remove all protections from trans people from that very thing. So they want to make even more trans people homeless, even more trans children homeless. And then now they want to hide all the statistics. The National Center for Missing and Exploited Children is now no longer allowed to say trans people are like 100 times more likely to be homeless. And this, if you find someone who's homeless and trans, this is how you would interact with them. This is how, if you think that a child is being exploited or is missing, or, if you feel like you've seen a missing person, how would you like get them to contact an authority? They're not going to be allowed to say any of that on their website. So obviously the value of that just goes down completely. And for what benefit? Just because you don't want trans people to exist? There's no rational argument for this at all. Like, okay, even if you're someone who's like, being trans is like a religion, they just believe, factually false, completely rubbish, nonsense for you. But even then, like, I'm an atheist, I don't believe in any religion at all. But if there was a Christian child who went missing, how do you think that I'm gonna, and I think there's a poster and it's like, have you seen this missing child? And I see them. Do you think I'm going to get them to come by being like, your religion is stupid, you're mentally ill, it's not even a real thing, God doesn't exist? Or do you think it'll be like, what's the problem? And they'll be like, oh, my family doesn't believe in my religion or something. I'm not going to be like, well, that's because they're right and the religion isn't real. Like, It's just nonsense. It's a completely ridiculous view. It's completely indefensible. It's just disgusting. Like, unambiguously, again, for the millionth time, they just want trans people to stop existing. And in any way they can make trans people stop existing, whether that's arresting them for absolutely no reason in Florida and then doing forced detransition, which is happening and is absolutely fucking horrific, or whether it's making it so you can just kick trans people out of the rented house that they're in without any other reason, making them homeless, or whether you then make it so homeless charities can't even acknowledge the reality of what's happening and can't reach out to children who are affected by these kinds of things. The reason that this group has folded on this issue and made absolutely no attempt to fight it back against it is probably, a number of reasons. But one of them is basically all their money comes from the US government, and Trump has threatened to remove the money they get, which would basically, render them useless. They have said that their operations would not change, but they were, compelled to remove anything mentioning trans people. They say they were specifically to review our public-facing platforms and material for compliance, our ability to locate and recover missing children, and to protect victims of child sexual exploitation remains unchanged and will remain unchanged. But that's just not true. It just cannot be true. If you're not allowed to, signpost for trans people and write the facts about trans people and address trans people in a way that they're most likely to respond to you, then of course it's not going to work as well. That's just untrue. It's sad that they've had to buckle on this and they've made no effort to fight back against it. Unambiguously disgusting.